Welcome to another podcast of the current situation at Manchester United. I know I have a few viewers, and if you're one of those few viewers that view my video podcast, you would know that it's rare for me to do like 4 videos in the span of like 5 or 6 days. I did a video on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I think the match reaction for the game we had on Tuesday. I said I was going to do a video on Wednesday, but I retracted that back because I didn't want to get burnt out. So yeah, I'm going to be doing the video today. So in terms of Manchester United news, latest Manchester United news, transfers I'm going to get into in a second. I'm going to give you guys a treat in regarding to examining a certain player that spent at least 6 years at Manchester United. Then he went to greener pastures. I'm going to dive deep into that. So you stick out for that treat in a bit. The first piece is in the first piece of news, excuse my French, is Dean Henderson. It says here that Dean Henderson wants to be a club's outright number 1 and feel he has done enough to replace David De Gea. Now this is one of the problems in regard to not only young players, but young players that think that they have accomplished it. They're on cloud 9. They're singing that I've made it. They're on Mount Everest and they think that they're the best. Brethren, this is your first United season as a professional player. This is your first professional season as Manchester United's goalkeeper. Relax your ass down. You have made a good amount of mistakes for us to make the comment that you're not supposed to be cemented as United's number 1 goalkeeper. We love the passion, we love the enthusiasm, but we don't want any passion merchants actually start for Manchester United if you don't have the pedigree or the amount of degree of success to back you up as a starting keeper. You're English, you're British, we get that. But Bridget, you have been very diabolical in the last 2 games. In terms of your positioning and handling, you have been very poor. So I don't know why you want to go haywire and you starting being the number one number one goalkeeper for United. Again, this is your first season at United. It's not like you've been starting all those games anyway. And in those games that you played, yes, you've played well, but you haven't had one of the best spells. You see me? Your longevity of form has not really given us a motivation to agree with your comment by you saying that you want to start. And he continues here by saying Dean Henderson wants to play for Manchester United, but he's not going to wait forever. So basically, he wants to start for Manchester United. But if United is kind of playing on the fence in terms of who starts, he's going to leave. No player, especially a young player, I think he's 24 at the age he is right now. No player at this age, considering that he is not really nothing in football basically, because he helped with the promotion and advent of Sheffield United, and again, this is your first season at Manchester United as a professional goalkeeper. You haven't accomplished anything in football, bro. Why are you making these demands? Why are you demanding to be starting? David De Gea, as bad as he was in his first season, man wasn't going that far. Not because he didn't know English, not because he's not British, but it's because he's young. He's young and he's humble. Humility is a lost art when it comes down to youth in football these days. Sure, you have young players that is like getting 100 over 100k per week, and they haven't been established and accomplished in football, which gives you an indication as to what kind of umbrella football is under at this moment in time in the modern age. Apparently, football is not about talent. It's all about arrogance and etc. So, brethren, you have to eat your humble pie and relax yourself. This is your first season. There shouldn't be no reason you're making this comment. Again, we understand that you're a young youth. You're the Wayne Rooney's of goalkeeping. You could say David De Gea is like a Dimitrov Berbatov type. He's not really vigorous or aggressive, but I guess you are more abrasive and aggressive, like Wayne Rooney up top. But still, bro, you have to go sit down as the second choice for goalkeeping. I understand you have energy, enthusiasm, and enthronement, but bro, humility can break you, can make you go far, bro. If you're saying this, you want to be United's number 1 goalkeeper in the first season, or when you have man like David De Gea, who's like one of the best ever goalkeepers of his era, that is saying a lot about you. That is saying, again, we can't deny your confidence if it's confidence, but you need to relax yourself, eat a can of beans, and shut the hell up. Keep quiet. Stay consistent with your performance. Stay consistent with your performance. Let the performance work speak for you, not you speaking. Anybody can do that. So perform, let the performance be your vocal tone, not you talking. So yeah, I don't want to get deep into that, but I just had to say that, bro, because I just found those comments very interesting. Um, and of course, as expected, the second piece of news is it says here that what would Manchester United have to sacrifice to sign Harry Kane and Sancho? We are never going to get Harry Kane and Jadon Sancho in the same transfer window. Never ever. Never ever ever ever. This is not Real Madrid 2000. Okay? We're not going to get those two players in one transfer window. For a start, we don't have enough money to push to push our two marquee players. Is it we're going to get Sancho or Harry Kane? Yes, Manchester United have decent money, but again, bro, if you're signing these two players and you don't have a system to install them in, then as Mark Goldbridge said, bro, you want to sign you as Mark Goldbridge would say, you want the icing, but there is no cake to put the icing on. You have to get the cake first. And I agree with Mark Goldbridge on that. Kane is as good as Kane is, he's not going to thrive. Plus you have Cavani. Kane and Sancho, they're not going to thrive as much. Yes, they'll get goals and assists, but they're not going to thrive as much and fulfill their potential at the peakest if there is no system. United doesn't have a system on the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And even when it comes down to transfers, Kane and Sancho in one transfer window, bro. I mean, it's good to be very optimistic, but optimistic has an optimum level, isn't it? So, you shouldn't be having all these thoughts saying, man, this summer transfer window is going to be one of them windows, man. We'll go get Kane. We're going to be title winning trophy winners again. No, I don't even think Sancho is coming to United. Isn't me? For a start, we have Mason Greenwood who will be starting. He'll be, I think Mason Greenwood is at the position where he can go both ways. Or starting on the right hand side and even in some cases as a centre forward. Because Cavani, as brilliant as Cavani has been for the latest 2 to 3 weeks, Cavani is basically, he cannot start every game for United. Okay? Martial, Martial is a lukewarm player. Some days he's good, some days he's not good. So it's kind of unpredictable when it comes down to Anthony Martial. No, I believe Martial will hit form next season. We don't need a striker. We need a centre back and a centre defensive midfield, which I'm going to get into a second. But my last comments on Kane and Sancho. Kane, for the embodiment of shirt sales, would be good. I think Kane will stay in England, but I think he'll leave Spurs. Because Spurs is very immune to trophies. And it would be disrespectful if you want to deny yourself trophies if you stay at Spurs. So it will be best in our interest. Yes, Kane is good, but to get Kane and Sancho in one window, it's us is asking for a lot. We don't need those two players at this moment. It's either we get one or the other. Preferably Sancho. We have been crying out for a proper right winger ever since 2014. We have tried Mkhitaryan on the right and it didn't really work out. Daniel James, that was just a mistake. Amad Diallo, he's doing decent, but he's always not going to start him as much. Let's be real about that. So, and Valencia on the right, that again, Valencia has retired, and Valencia, his best years at right mid was before 2014. After 2014, he started to be a right wing back. So going back to what I'm saying, bro, again, Sancho, I don't even think he's going to leave Dortmund. Why would he leave Dortmund? Um, Kane is definitely leaving, but Levy is basically levying this proposition of Spurs being in a situation where they can swap Anthony Martial from Manchester United with the current outgoing Harry Kane. So there's not only money to gain, but there is players that can be switched. Is me. So that is the type of game Levy is trying to play. Whether that comes out in play, who knows? But I think that's what he's trying to propose. Is me. The next piece of news we have here is the Manchester United show interest in signing Eduardo Binga. I think we've been linked to this player for almost a year now. He's a French midfielder, but I think we need more of a CDM, bro. We need a CDM that is very mobile, that is very agile, a player that is very functional. He's not stiff. He can move. Again, Matic is two stringers from being a retiree. Scott McTominay, I think, is a player that should be playing more advanced. I don't think being in a double pivot shows justice for Manchester United and himself, because I don't think he's gonna thrive there. And again, Fred is Fred. So I don't think it's best to what I was saying again. I don't think it's best for us to get this young youth. I don't know if he's a box to box. I think he's a box to box, but I don't think he's a defensive midfielder. And our defensive midfielder needs, yes, Kante, he's small and do his thing, but we need a defensive midfielder that is not only mobile, but he has weight on him somewhat. Somewhat. He doesn't have to be tall. He doesn't have to be lanky or whatever. But he has to have some weight to him. He have to have some chunk on him. I'm not sure if this youth is a defensive midfielder. So I would prefer Declan Rice, bro. Declan Rice, yeah, man. Him in the defensive midfield, bro. And he can play centre back and different variations of midfield positions. So Declan Rice is my dude, is me. But going back to this guy, nah, man. I think this dude should strive somewhere else. Oh, it says here that his average passing percentage per game is 89, while he makes 2.6 tackles. Again, I haven't seen much of this guy, so you guys can probably sort me out in the comment section by saying I don't watch proper football that much, saying that this dude is actually a defensive midfielder, he's very good. Hey, I'm a human being and I don't know everything. I'm not a be all end all, so sort me out in the comment section regarding to Eduardo Camavani. What the hell is his name? Eduardo Camavinga. Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, if he's a defense midfielder, I have to go see this dude play. He's again, you guys leave your comments down below. You guys know what's up. The last piece of news before I get into the main meat of the matter is Harry Maguire, and I've talked about this before. Harry Maguire pictured without crutches and protective boot. Just because he's out of the boots doesn't mean he's not wearing them elsewhere. See, when you take a picture, bro, you're taking a picture of the moment. That moment doesn't define or depict the whole day or the whole week. For all you care, you could be airing out his feet, and then he put them on back again. And that time he was airing out his feet, he was ventilating his feet. You take up your camera and take a picture. But does that mean he's not wearing again? This brethren has succumbed to an ankle ligament injury. If any of you guys have played football and you have had an ankle ligament injury, there is no way in hell, no way under God's green beautiful earth are you going to be viable to start in a crucial final when you just got the injury like 2 weeks prior, if not a week and a half prior. You're not going to be 100% fit. No, I believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be starting, his captain, because he's his captain, and he's played like almost every minute, every second, every blade of second in the Premier League, up until that substitution against Aston Villa. But then again, bro, I don't think he's in a not only a mind state to start, but I don't think he's in the physical frame to start. See, Villarreal might even sort him out on in the final. You see me? So, and this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first final ever, if from my recollection. Yeah, his first ever final. Wait, I think his first ever final. So I don't know why he would want to mess up his first ever final with United by starting an injured or not 100% fit Harry Maguire. This is me. So again, that's my brief thoughts on the transfers and the latest news of Manchester United. Now, you guys, this is the meat of the matter. You guys know I do a brief examination of ex-players that used to play for Manchester United. And this is going to be another segment of that. So I didn't want to do the latest news and do a different video of this particular player. I just wanted to do a hybrid, because again, I'm going to do a preview for you guys tomorrow in regarding to United's last game against Wolves, which will be very interesting because Wolves need points. But yeah, so going into the second segment of this video podcast, one of the players, because the reason a question why I didn't do this player earlier than I should. We know that he's coming to the latter end of his career, and what he has achieved not only at Manchester United, but what he's achieved as a player is a testament of his dedication and endurance. And I think that is something that is a lost art in a lot of players, because a lot of players have the talent, but they don't have the embodiment of endurance, durability, stability, and longevity. So they think that talent can move them and have them having a good career. Who is that going on for me? Messenger. So of course this player, he's not the same player as he was. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. He, couple of days at least, won a trophy. This player came to Manchester United in 2000 and I think he came in 2003 or 2004 for Manchester United. Manchester United was going to play a pre-season game against Sporting Lisbon in 2003. And David Beckham was actually sold after having some falling out with the manager at the time, Sir Alex Ferguson. So he went to Real Madrid, and now the number 7, you guys know who I'm talking about by me saying that. The number 7 was now vacant. A certain person of a certain caliber could slot in with number 7. But they were playing against Sporting Lisbon in the pre-season of summer of 2003, if memory serves me right, as if I was watching football at the time. I was on tiddies or I was in kindergarten class, but I think I was in actually whatever. But there was this young youth, this skinny, frail youth of Sporting Lisbon, and it's not too many players that at the time was fragile, very agile, had a lanky or a lanky frame that was tearing up a prime 2003 Manchester United side in the first half. This dude, I think I read. Hold on. I think I was reading something and it said that John O'Shea is either John O'Shea or Nicky Butt or some other player. They were out of breath at halftime. Like they were taken aback by this young youth. This dude was actually tearing. I don't even think players on the fringes were. I think very good players were starting. I think Veron was starting. I know Nicky Butt was playing, John O'Shea and a few other players. And this dude against a good Manchester United side was tearing them and putting them aside. And it was after that match where Sir Alex Ferguson has an eye for talent like that. And when he saw the player, I think Ryan Giggs went up to Sir Alex Ferguson and said, "Yo, see that young youth over there, so I think you should I should pay your books. I think you should book him for being a signing for this season before the season starts. I think he's gonna be a great Manchester United player." And so Alex Ferguson actually spoke with his mother about his performance and the proposition of him coming to Manchester United. And without getting lengthy, he came to Manchester United, I think, for 12 million euros, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 12 million euros. And this young youth came at the age of either 17 or 18. And his name, as you guys can guess it already, is Cristiano Ronaldo. I think his name is a long one. But this dude came from Madeira, I think. But basically Portugal. And he came to Manchester United. Now, it's one thing to come to Manchester United at a young age. People haven't seen much of you. But it's another thing when you just come to Manchester United, nobody knows you from a can of paint, and you're given the number 7. That is unheard of. But see, this young youth from Portugal, he came in, and in the first game, he wasn't standing on ceremony. This dude was tearing it up already. It's like he had something to prove, not only to the fans but to his manager which was now Sir Alex Ferguson. See, what you have to understand is that when persons talk about, yeah, man, Mbappe is tearing up, tearing up football. Holland, I guess his name is pronounced, but I'm gonna call it Holland. Holland is tearing up, the Dortmund league. These young youths. Jude Bellingham is tearing up the German league. These young youths is ballers, man. What you have to understand at the time is that this dude, Cristiano Ronaldo, didn't come to Manchester United in 2014 or 2017. This brethren, this young, cocky, skinny, fragile, agile dude, he came to Manchester United when Sol Campbell got some robust defenders. This was the prime Premier League era. This was the early 2000s. This was the early noughties if you're English. So you giving this young youth who is unknown, again, nobody knows him from a can of paint down the street. You give this dude number 7, which is a iconic number for Manchester United. He's 18 years old, and you're just slapping him with the tag of number 7. David Beckham just left and established his name as a iconic number 7 at United. And you're giving this young youth number 7. What has he accomplished in football to get number 7? What has he done? And here's the thing, bro. Cristiano Ronaldo came in the Premier League where defending was a very art. It was an art for defending. Defending was very robust. Basically, if you were trying to do if you were like a show boating player, you were all about trickery, and you were trying to beat a player with those types of trickery. Best believe that you is either two things. You would stop that show boating at some point, or you're going to be taken off with an injury, because defenders are not going to tolerate or allow themselves to be moved like that. They're not going to, at least in the early noughties of the Premier League in the early 2000s. So Cristiano Ronaldo was establishing himself as a step over guy. He was becoming more of a starter on the right wing side in a 4-4-2 flat formation, with Ryan Giggs on the left wing, and Beckham, not Beckham, Scholes and Keane in that midfield. This is me. And Ruud van Nistelrooy was up top with who else was up top? Someone else was up top. But that dude on the right hand side, he was just steering it up. Step overs, and he got a couple of goals. Actually, his first goal was a free kick, which was somewhat deflected, but it was a free kick, and he was establishing himself as a player that had a future as being a legend at Manchester United. And I'm not going to go into the exact details of each season, because I don't want this to be a 15-hour video podcast. Motherfucker, I want to be finished in 15 minutes, but basically, in his first season, he got a couple of goals, but persons see, another thing is this. Ronaldo was an unorthodox, traditional right winger, meaning that if you're a right-footed player and you play as a right winger, more than likely you should be crossing the balls into the box. It's less than like you're going to just cut in on your weaker foot and shoot. That is unheard. Again, this is the prime early 2000s Premier League. So football was different back then. This is me. It's either across the ball in the box. But this brethren named Cristiano Ronaldo, he was taking matters into his own hands, literally. And he would do crossovers, go on his left foot and actually shoot. And he gained a lot of fans that were enthralled by his football. But even in some cases, critics were saying, okay, bro, yes, you're decent as talent, but cross the ball. You have the strikers in the box. Why are you taking a shot on yourself? You're a young youth. Cross the ball. Another thing is that he knew what he was getting himself into. Some cases, when he was teasing the defenders would literally clear him out. Like clear him out. Like slide tackle him, like him fly elsewhere. And it was very, again, I'm not a person that was watching football at the time. But if I was to speculate and give my opinion, I would say that diving at the time was not as prevalent as it is right now. See, persons can dive and get a penalty easily. Person can dive and someone get a red card. It's the MO of football is not the same as it was in the early 2000s, when it was more physical, more direct, I should say, excuse my French, more aggressive, more combative, more abrasive. Is me. And back then, if you try to do this tricky, bro, you go get fouled at some point. You were going to get your knees knocked. And Cristiano Ronaldo was no exception. This dude was getting knocked. There were times persons would question his end product. Okay, he beat a couple of players. Where's the goal? Where's the assist? He was even taking shots from 30 yards at the age of 18. And person was saying, bro, there's persons in front of you. Pass the ball or just lay off the ball and run in the box so he can score. Why are you taking the shot from 30 yards? There are persons that are in better positions than you. I mean, it's one of those things where you're a young youth, you're young to the green, you're ignorant, you don't know any better. You want to prove a point. You want to show that you're not an average Joe Schmo that is just going to pass the ball. You want to show that you have some dirt, and you want to show that you can actually beat players. You want to show that you have confidence on the ball. You want to show that you're a talented player. So you don't want to be a part of the herd by just passing the ball and being basic. I understand that. But if you're taking a shot from 30 yards, particularly if you're like 18 and you're not the most talented player, I mean, who's giving you this audacity to be shooting from there? Why? Why are you doing that? So all those things were done by Cristiano Ronaldo. In the second season, Wayne Rooney came that season. I think it was in '04. Yeah, he came in '04. You had Louis Saha. We had Ruud van Nistelrooy. Now the attacking was becoming more integrated, more dynamic, more in terms of depth. We had a decent amount of strikers or forwards that could actually give us goals. You see me? So Ronaldo, my man was still doing his thing on the right hand side, beating players. He was Now this is the thing, and this is something I should have said a couple minutes ago. It's one thing to have talent or decent talent, but if you don't have any work ethic, it's going to be obsolete. It's not going to be non-existent. This Bridgen at the age of 18 was working out in the gyms with weight on his legs, dribbling with weight on his legs. His work ethic was unmatched. You see me? No one could question his work ethic in the gym. You see me? So yes, it's good to have talent, but if you don't have the work ethic, your talent is going to be absent. It's not going to be present. But if you put work ethic with talent, you're going to be Deadpool on steroids. You're going to be Thanos on steroids. But I'm going to get into that in a second. But when he was young, at the age of 19, age of 20, this Bridgen was dribbling with weight on his legs. He was working out with weight on his legs. Someone told him, say, yo, it's good to be dribbling and so forth, but you're not going to last that long with those fragile, that skinny legs, like you have Berry Bear or something. You have to be working out in the gym, because these defenders might end your career. They're non-tolerable. They don't tolerate no showboating. Tony Adams won't. Sol Campbell won't. John Terry won't. Who else? Martin Keown won't. Great defenders at the time, they weren't going to tolerate that, bro. So you have to go change up your game somewhat. Ronaldo was still doing his thing. He was not nutmegging players, beating players, piling players, disrespecting players. My man just believed in his ability. And he knew that he had the capability of improving. See, of course, persons knew that he was the most talented player. But having that work ethic, that had to be very admirable. My English is off. But coming into his third season, which was 2005, 2006, and 2006, 2007, this is where Ronaldo was becoming more established, because yes, he was getting a few goals here and there, but he wanted more end product. He wanted more signatures on the end of things. He wanted more assists and goals. And he started to work out more. Not only doing leg workouts, but he started to work out more, building his body so he can be combative against bigger defenders in the Premier League in the early to mid noughties, in the early to mid 2000s. He was getting more end product when he was getting into the box. Ronaldo he was not only staying right on the right hand side, but Sir Alex Ferguson saw a talent that was kind of rare for a winger. Actually, a right winger with a right foot. This dude can actually header goals. He could score free kicks. Now, he didn't score as much free kicks as the latter years come by, but he showed that he had a trademark when it came on to free kicks. And this is something that I have to say, bro, because a lot of persons, their natural instinct for taking free kicks is just kicking the ball with their instep, it going over the wall, and then just decline. Just go up and go down. Go over the wall and go down. But see, when you're at 20 19-year-old dude, and you have the trademark of a dude that has a big penis. Like he has a big junk in his knapsack. His legs are out here, so. And his hand is at his side. And you're huffing and puffing like you're going to blow the piglet's house down. And you knuckling that ball. That was him making his trademark, his signature trademark as a specialist free kick. No person at the time was making no knuckleballs free kick. I can tell you that. Del Piero, his free kicks was legendary. Taking free kicks from like 40 years and scoring. Beckham, he had a different trademark with his free kicks, curling it to the far post. CR7 had his own traditionalized free kick technique at the age of 19. He was showing young players that it's possible for you to establish and invent your own trickery, your own technique. Knuckleball, this was beating Daniel James at the age of 19 and 20. Those knuckleballs were unstoppable. Best if you just allow them to just score because you weren't going to save them anyway. But anyway, he became more, his stamina improved. His physique obviously improved. Well, he was a young youth, so of course he's going to improve. But that exacerbated when he became more of a gym freak. He was going to training early, way early than most players. And that goes back to dedication and work ethic. Yes, he had decent talent, but that's the talent he worked on and off the pitch. Particularly off the pitch. Also, hold on. Also, in his fourth season, 06-07, this was where we're seeing a different winger in the Premier League. This is where the emergence of Cristiano Ronaldo was becoming more prevalent, more affluent. He was not only beating players with his dribbling skills, he was also getting loads of goals and loads of assists. We were seeing a different Cristiano Ronaldo in 06-07, where most wingers at the time, they were kind of basic or average, like, beating a player on the byline, crossing in the ball. But Ronaldo was showing that he could play not only on the right wing, but on the left wing, because this is where Ryan Giggs started to evolutionize his game. Age was of the essence and he needed to adapt to the game. So he became more of a midfielder or playing as a number 10 per se. On paper, you might see him on the left wing, but when you actually watch the game, he was more of a midfielder. Toggling it with Scalzi. I think Curry came in that season, I believe. And Giggs. And Darren Fletcher. And Alan Smith. And Wayne Rooney would drop. So when the type of play that we saw that season with CR7 was becoming, he was putting up Frank Lampard's numbers basically. He was becoming a goal scorer midfield. Again, I don't think he was scoring, he was a midfielder, but he was a left mid and a right mid. So he was very integrated, he was very dynamic, he wasn't one-dimensional. He could actually adapt his game in terms of situations. And he could score. So persons who were not having this same criticism of saying, man, he's decent at dribbling, but where's his end product? But end product was worked on significantly. Particularly, and it shows you the dedication of CR7. I think it was in 06, his father passed away. And of course, persons might overlook and say, okay, your father passed away, your mother passed away. Yeah, it's one of those tough moments in life, but okay, what's up? What's missing here? See, with Adriano, who was at Inter Milan, and I feel for Adriano because Adriano is one of my most favorite strikers to play for not only Inter Milan, but to play football in general. When his father passed away, before his father passed away, he was on form. He was on form for Inter Milan and Brazil. When his father passed away, Adriano was not the same player again. The passing of his father had an indictment on his form. He suffered depression. He started drinking. He started missing training matches and sessions. He was just not as motivated as before. And when CR7 lost his father, he was given the option to go to the funeral or to just stay. And my man chose the latter. It was questionable, but his choice. He said, no, I'm going to play this match. Yes, my father passed away, It's said that he's passed away, but I want to play the match. I want to stay and actually play. Now, person might go to the funeral and say, yo, that's my father. I need to pay respect to my father passing away. And I believe he had a close relationship with his father. But that goes to show the difference of mentality, because in one scenario, Adriano became depressed, he became obese, and his love for the game was declining and decaying. So it was not the same as before. With CR7, you could say that CR7 had a father figure in the name of Sir Alex Ferguson, so it was much of a detriment to his form. But see, Sir Alex Ferguson is not his biological father, and he has known Sir Alex Ferguson when he was smaller. And when you're smaller, your formative years matters. So actually, it does have a degree of credibility. But the difference is mentality, bro. When his father passed away, he wanted to stay and play football. He was given a choice to actually go home and rest a couple of days. He didn't want to rest for a couple of days. See? But anyway, his goals, bro, his assists, his gameplay, his overall gameplay was being established, it was just anybody that saw CR7 that year, and of course I was watching football at the time, because I didn't know that I think I knew CR7 was playing for United. I think when it was 06, I was in grade 3 or something. So I don't think I think I knew Manchester United, the club, because United was the name of the game back then in the Premier League and in England basically. But I didn't know that CR7 was playing for the club at the age of, well, I ain't gonna say my age, but in the grade I was in, at grade 3. So his game improved a lot, and in 07 and 08, this was where, oh, before, see, I'm skipping, but I might do a part 2. No, I don't want to do a part 2. I want to do everything in this video podcast. So I'm going to give you guys the cake so you can take piece, put the rest in the fridge, and you can eat it later. So, Ruud van Nistelrooy was having an issue with Cristiano Ronaldo, because, like I told you guys a couple minutes ago, it was very, I wouldn't say it was like the prerequisite of being a winger, but it was just common sense. When you're a winger, you're supposed to cross the ball into the box. Is me, for your strikers. You should be unselfish. Not saying that you shouldn't have moments of individual ability, but most of the time you should be applying and giving service to your strikers, especially if they're more advanced position than you. But see, Ronaldo is one of those egomaniac, narcissistic wingers that even if he's not in a position to score, he's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot. Gary Neville, I think, was even talking about this in his interview in a CR7, not interview, in a CR7 document. He was saying, is either two things go happen. Is either he's going to shoot when he's not supposed to shoot, of course I'm paraphrasing, or he's going to dribble and make himself more able to shoot. It's either one out of the two. Even if you're in a better position than him to score, he's going to ignore you and he's going to shoot. He's just going to shoot. He's just going to shoot. And Ruud van Nistelrooy was having an issue with that, because, bro, you're a winger, you're younger than me, you should be deferring to me with assists. Giving me assists, bro. Cross the ball to me. I'm a striker. The striker scored goals. The wingers apply the assist, give the assists. I should be scoring goals, not you. You have no right, you have no authority, you have no audacity to be making goals on your own. Give me the ball. So there was a feud, there was somewhat contentious tension between those two. And Sir Alex Ferguson saw that immediately. And it was at the moment Ruud van Nistelrooy saw that CR7 was not going to change his game. He was very uncompromising with his style of play. And that basically catapulted him to be making a transfer move to Real Madrid. Because he said, I'm coming to the end of my career, at least in my prime years. I cannot have this dude not giving me no ball into the box. Now, I'm not saying he didn't give Ruud van Nistelrooy no balls at all. But in terms of comparison, as an average winger, you should be giving Ruud van Nistelrooy most of the ball. Because Ruud van Nistelrooy is probably like the best finisher in the Premier League. At the time anyway. But anyway, he didn't want to give Ruud van Nistelrooy the ball. My man wanted to work on his own self. He wanted to score goals for himself. He wanted to get end products. Yeah. So Ruud van Nistelrooy went to Real Madrid. He was said, okay, to hell with CR7. Nothing's going to become. There's no positivity in this situation. So I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to whine. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to leave. And even when Ruud van Nistelrooy was there, Sir Alex Ferguson was changing the game. He was evolving the attack. He wanted his attack to be more fluid, more dynamic, more integral, and intrinsic. If I can say that, because when Rooney was young and he had pace, this was a chubby, young, aggressive, robust, combative Wayne Rooney. So he had energy in him. He wanted to run all over the place. And Ronaldo was doing his thing. So he wanted the attacking to be very dynamic and fluid. See, with Ruud van Nistelrooy, he wanted Ruud to be the main master of getting the goals. You feed the beer up top. But the game was changing, because with Ruud up top, Jose Mourinho won the Premier League twice in a row. And Sir Alex Ferguson knew he had to change house a bit. He knew things had to change up. The Premier League was evolving, and he didn't want to stay in the dark or stay behind. So with that being said, Ruud had to leave. CR7, Ronaldo and Luis Saha was the focal point of United's attack. And that's how things came about from 2006 up until 2008. Even with Luis Saha wasn't as mobile, wasn't agile, but he was doing his thing. And when United was on the counter-attack, Luis Saha would drop back, and the pace of Rooney and CR7 was very vital to that attack. But anyway, see, I can go into all these lengthy eulogies, but in 07 and 08, yes, so CR7 won the Premier League's Best Player of the Year, PFA's Player of the Year, United's Best Player of the Year, I think, and they won the Premier League that season. He got a lot of Man of the Matches. He got Man of the Player of the Month. You can name them though. He got that in 07 and 08. In 06 and 07. So I'm all over the place. But in 07 and 08, it's one thing to see that type of CR7, but to see a different dog, not a different dog, but a different animal. Well, I mean, dog is an animal, but a different beast of a player in 07 and 08 was where things were no, Real Madrid, me speaking of Real Madrid was starting to be linked with CR7 in 06, because if you guys can remember, Rooney had a spot with Ronaldo when it was England against Portugal in the World Cup 2006. Yes, I was in grade 3 at the time, but I was watching the World Cup, but I don't think I've watched that game. But yeah, person was saying, man, it's Rooney against Ronaldo. It's the brothers against each other, man. I wonder how this game go. Rooney, I don't know if Rooney had a compass or he just didn't care. But my man, he smashed his studs into another guy's nuts, another guy's private area. And of all people, CR7 was like, yo, we have to send off this youth, He just stepped into my teammates' balls. Send him off. Have the balls to send him off. Now, I don't think if Ronaldo protested that much, I don't think Rooney would be sent off. Because I think he was definitely going to get a booking, but I don't think the booking would be a red card. But when your best friend, you and your best friend playing for the same club, right? And you in the World Cup with your team, and your best friend is with their team in the World Cup quarterfinals. You're trying to win the World Cup, right? And your best friend go boot someone in their balls, and you're coming up and say, "Yo, send this dude off. Send him off, man. To hell with him. Send him off." Therefore, he's like, "Okay, bro. Since your best friend say you have to get sent off, I'm gonna send you off. Come off the field right now." You see? And that actually not only sparked up a lot of CR7 haters for England, but it also, Man United fans didn't like that, bro. They did not like how CR7 like did that in front of his quote unquote best friend at the time. Person was saying, "Bro, why are you trying to get Rooney sent off? Yes, you want Portugal to go through, but why are you doing that? This is your best friend. This is your best buddy. You guys are chummy chummy on the training pitch. Why are you doing this?" But shoot, CR7 was like, "Well, I was saying it's a foul, but I didn't say he should be getting sent off." Man was like protesting, bro. He was protesting like a fan's doing to try run out the club's owner. Like he was protesting to the referee, say, "Yo, send off this dude. Send him off. He's send him off. To hell with him." And that is where it grew tension. Because when he was sent off, England got knocked out by a CR7 penalty shootout, by the way, because he scored the final penalty. And that kind of rubbed some red rubbed wounds in the faces of England fans and more specifically United fans. And Sir Alex Ferguson knew there was tension between Rooney and Ronaldo, and he knew that the chemistry wasn't going to be the same because they they just had a feud. And this is where Real Madrid was starting to be linked with CR7 to have him removed from Old Trafford. Because what you have to understand is that England fans don't take football slightly like South Americans. Them and South Americans are like the pioneers when it comes on to football. They don't take football slightly, they take football seriously. See, there's this Colombian defender that was literally killed because he scored an own goal for his country. That's Colombia in the World Cup. I don't remember what World Cup it was, but he was killed by fans. So yes, they take football seriously. So CR7 going back to England with Manchester United, that training ground is not going to be the same. It's going to have tension. It's going to have conflicts. It's going to have altercations. So my man had to move based on transfer rumors, had to be removed from that environment. But now, man, he sticked around. He's still at United. But in 07 and 08, bro, going back to what I'm saying, I know this video is going to be a lengthy one. Eat some popcorn, drink some champagne, and do yourself a favor. And like that subscribe button. Like the subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and stay tuned. And be entertained. In 07 and 08, again, to see that player the previous season was a good thing, but to see another animal showing a different dimension to his game the other season was on. It was. I'm speechless. That shows you how very good he was. Even better that season. Tevez came in that season on loan for 2 years from West Ham. We had Rooney, who was more of an established player. He was the number 10 right now because Ruben is removed. And Luis Saha was doing his thing. Nothing big, but he was doing his thing either way. So United had a different attack. It has evolved from Ruben and Rooney and Alan Smith at some point. It was more fluid, more attacking, more pacey, more entertaining. And CR7 was making his name more of a left winger. Even on the left wing, bro, on paper, he was a left winger, but in some cases, he would play higher than Wayne Rooney. Because, see, if you look under the cracks, if you look in the mud, you would notice that, yes, he got all of his goals. That was the tip of the iceberg. If you look down at the bottom of the iceberg, which is the big picture, you would see that players actually sacrifice themselves, compromise themselves for the establishment and the betterment of CR7. Wayne Rooney, of course. Rooney wasn't playing as attacking as CR7, although Rooney was a striker. See, CR7 was more in terms of their heat map, if you look at the heat map, CR7 was higher than Rooney. Rooney would drop to service CR7. That's kind of a dichotomy right there, because if you're thinking of the winger and the striker, of course, common sense would tell that the striker is supposed to be higher than the winger. But on the pitch, it was actually different. It was the opposite. And anyway, we saw a different dynamite animal that season, getting 42 goals in our competition as a winger, scoring free kicks all over the place, heading goals, scoring flicks, doing tricks, dribbling past players. He had the full, complete package. There was no piece of pizza that was unleft. He had everything in the pizza. Dribbling, strength, prowess, physical prowess, heading ability, passing, shooting, free kicks, the ability to win fouls, to win games, to score penalties. He had everything. As someone would say, he had everything. As SpongeBob would say, everything. In a player, particularly a winger, was become more of a wing forward. Is me. And man, he won everything. he won best player of the year, Ballon d'Or. I think it was his first Ballon d'Or. Man, this was a very good player. I'm telling you, this dude was the embodiment. They won the Champions League through of course he scored the first goal in the Champions League with a header against Chelsea. Man, this dude was just a different animal, man. Was different gravy. But after the 07-08 season, Real Madrid was knocking on the door more loudly. They were knocking on the door. Because they were saying, okay, we want this dude to represent our brand. He's going to bring us more shirt sales, more money into the club. We have to sign this dude from United. We don't want this dude to be united with Manchester United. We need him to come to Real Madrid. He's going to be our project. He's going to put us back on the map. We have to bring this dude from United. And it was in 07 and after the 07 and 08 season. And Real Madrid, they were very persistent, as a club should be. If you really want to play, you have to get them through fingers, right? And you have to pay that money because money speaks. So, when you saw the performance, of course, you moving away was going to come at some point. You see me? And man, this is going to be a lengthy one. But anyway, he was linked to Real Madrid. He was entertaining the thoughts of moving to Real Madrid, right? He was being seduced by Real Madrid. The money, the fans, the stadium, the brand, everything was enticing to CR7. So he would do himself disservice and injustice to not go to Real Madrid. And he basically said that Real Madrid is my dream. Of course I want to play for Real Madrid. And he basically went to Sir Alex Ferguson and said, yo, I want to leave. I want to leave and go to Real Madrid so I can achieve more success, right? But Sir Alex Ferguson was basically like, you have given us 5 solid years already, CR7. You have been our best player for the last 2 seasons. We know that you were going to get linked by a move away from the club. I know that you want to achieve your dream because you're 23 right now. I'll tell you this. Why not give us another season and then just move to Real Madrid? Just 1 season. And imagine the fans. Imagine you just moving like that without the fans not noticing that you're going to leave like that. Why not just give us 1 more season? We know that you have more gas in the tank. Just give us 1 more season out of it. And just move to Real Madrid. Just 1 season. I'm just asking you. As a manager that saw you as a young youth developing yourself, just give me 1 more season. I'm just asking you just to give us and gift us 1 more season. And that is where CR7 made the decision to stay at United for another season for the last time. In 07 and in 08 or 09, wrapping up, he was still a great winger. Of course, he was beating players scoring free kicks, but his game was not the same as the previous season. You could see in some games that his motivation wasn't there. His intentions were not clear. Well, his intention was clear to move, but in some games his head was not there. He just wanted to leave. He would get goals, he would get assists, he would get performances, but the motivation to set United was not there. When he scored goals, sometimes he would have a poker face like, okay, it's just one of the moments where I just score another goal, but I want to leave, man. I want to leave. And he got over 20 goals in the 08-09 season. And United fans knew this would be CR7's last season at United. And they got another final from CR7. And they were going to play against a Barcelona that was emerging. A new Barcelona from Rijkaard, because Rijkaard was actually sacked in 08, right? And in 08-09, Pep Guardiola, this fragile, legendary player from Barcelona, was like a mentee of the late, God bless his soul, not Frank Wright, Johan Cruyff. He was the coach of Barcelona's B team, and he made questionable choices in promoting certain players. But those certain players that he promoted became class that season for Barcelona, and they were in the final to be playing against a seasoned, prime, ripe, sweet Manchester United side. And of course, Lionel Messi was a part of that side. So in that final, CR7 wanted to leave United with them triumphing, winning and defending their Champions League triumph, winning the Champions League for another season. But in that game, he was just average, but he was just average. Yes, he would shoot, yes, he would create chances, but he was not as good as you would expect from your best player. His head was not there that season. Yes, he got goals and assists, but his head was not there literally. In certain celebrations, you could see the dude have a poker face like he just wanted to leave. He wanted to move out. You see, he didn't want to force out the move because he didn't want to put Sir Alex Ferguson on the spot like that, because Sir Alex Ferguson saw the development he went through. So he didn't want to force a move like that. He didn't want to pull strings from Sir Alex Ferguson. He played it nice. He said, okay, bro, I'm going to give it one more season. I'm going to give you one more season and then I'm out. I'm out. And in that final, as United expected, they were expecting to win to basically put a lid on CR7's career at Manchester United. But that was not the case. Barcelona lost. Manchester United lost to Barcelona that final. And an arm folding CR7 was just watching the players of Barcelona get the medal and raise the trophy. And it was at that moment he knew that he had to leave. He won everything as a player at Manchester United. Of course, not the World Cup, but he won everything domestic wise at Manchester United. He had no motivation to stay. Because again, he had those boxes ticked off, bro. He wanted to move. He wanted to move and unfortunately, I believe it was in August. I'm wrapping up right now. It was in August, if not, it was in July of 2009. Manchester United, I think Ryan Giggs had a meeting with a few other players. I think they had a meeting with a few other players. And it was made clear that the contract was signed. CR7 signed a contract with Real Madrid. And he was going to move. It wasn't a dream. He was moving realistically to Real Madrid. And it wasn't something that should have caught the fans off anyway, because they knew that his head was not there in 08 or 09. They knew he wanted to leave. So they had to entertain him moving. And some persons to this day think that CR7 should have stayed at Manchester United. They thought he disrespected Manchester United for moving. And my thing is this, as I move on, as I close this video podcast, CR7 didn't disrespect Sir Alex Ferguson or Manchester United. He did us a favor by saying one more season. One more season. And even if the motivation was there as the previous season, 07 or oh 08, he stayed in 08 or oh 09 and gave us a very good season. Now, it wasn't as good as the previous season of winning the Ballon d'Or and everything, but he gave us another season. He wanted to achieve his dream at Real Madrid. And he wanted a different environment and a new challenge. And that's why he moved from Manchester United. So some of you fans saying that, man, I think CR7 should have stayed. He disrespected us like that. He left us in the dirt. No, he didn't. He probably disrespected himself for staying one more season. Because again, his mind was made up to leave in 08. But Sir Alex Ferguson said, yo, give us one more season under your belt, bro. Just give me one more season, please. Please, one more season. And he did that and he moved on. He has accomplished everything as a player at Manchester United. He's the best in most Manchester United millennials' head as the best iconic number 7 at Manchester United. We have not replaced Edison Cavani has not replaced CR7 as the iconic number 7 because he hasn't won Jack for Manchester United. We have not replaced a player of CR7's caliber in the number 7. It's me. So, as I close this video podcast, CR7 left United in July of 2009 and went to the Santiago Bernabeu. I think early that week when they signed Kaka for like 72 million or something like that. But when they signed Ronaldo, the stadium was filled and jam-packed with a lot of fans that entertained his presentation, his player presentation. You had Figo there. You had Eusebio there, the Portuguese legend. Rest in peace, Eusebio. The legend Raul was there. The legend, he's dead now, a Real Madrid legend. I think his name is, I'm forgetting his name. They came to his presentation. They wanted this dude to be the embodiment of Real Madrid. They knew he was going to put Real Madrid back on the map. And he did. This, again, the stadium was jam-packed, bro. It was jam-packed. You would think it was a slave ship back in the slavery days. It was jam-packed. There was about 90,000 fans in that stadium for a presentation. It wasn't a match. It was not a match. It wasn't a football match. But when he was at United, bro, we saw the development. Person saw the development, the enlightenment, the enthusiasm, the excitement of CR7 at United. And in those 3 seasons, he gave United, starting with 06, with his link to Real Madrid, he gave us the best 3 seasons of his career at United. He established himself as a player that embodied goals. He has a public image out of football right now. He's on the verge. He's not the same player right now at Juventus. Right now he's looking to move from Juventus because Juventus is not having, I guess they're not having Champions League this season. For next season, I should say. He's not the same. He's nowhere near the same player he was in 08 or even 010. But yeah, leave your comments down below in the comment section what you think on the career of CR7, because CR7, bro, hold on. CR7, bro, you guys have this butthurt feeling about yourself, saying that CR7 should have stayed. No, he shouldn't have stayed. Anyway, I could have gone on and on and on. I know you guys enjoyed it, but I took all the quits right there. So, and say, like this video, subscribe to this channel for more details, more Manchester United latest news. CR7 left United with a legacy. We have seen, I don't think any player that can match his work ethic off the pitch. He's one of a kind. He's one in a million. I'll show you guys tomorrow for the preview against Wolverhampton, I should say, for the next and last Premier League game of the season. Peace.